What is up, everybody? Jordan here with the Deck Box, coming back to you tonight with yet another deck analysis slash profile. And the deck we're looking at tonight is the list that Azul used recently at Memphis, to receive a second place finish there, and is around 1,000 players. So second place out of 1,000 is just ridiculously insane. And what was interesting is Azul used something that, sorry, I just realized the sound isn't on. Azul used a list that a lot of people said was kind of dead. I mean, the list, not this list in particular, but he used Garb, and a lot of people were saying, no, there's not a ton of Garb around. It's just not around, you know. So a lot of people just weren't playing it because they said it didn't make sense. But Azul said, no, I'm gonna stick with it. You know, I think it's solid. And really, the more you look at it, it does make sense. I mean, you have a ton of abilities right now going around. Mainly, Zoroark is huge right now. If you shut off Zoroark, you're shutting down your opponent's pretty much core of their deck. No matter what deck they're playing, Zoroark is a focus in the list. No matter what you say, it's in there for the draw support. And if you don't have that draw support, it does kind of shut you down, slows you down big time. You're not end proof. It makes a big difference. You've got Octillery in list right now. You also had a ton of Lycanroc at this tournament. And when I say a ton, I mean, I played the mirror match 3 or 4 times. It was insane. And of course they have Bloodthirsty Eyes. If you can shut down Bloodthirsty Eyes, you're taking away a huge tool that your opponent could be using. And a lot of people cut down their field blower counts to about 1 or 2. Typically you'd see the counts more on the 2 to 3 side, depending on if they relied on abilities. If they heavily relied on them, it'd be typically 3 to 4. But yeah, a lot of 1 to 2 that weekend. I guess it's been about a week since then. But Azul said, you know what, I'm going to play Garb, I'm going to shut everyone's abilities down, and then I'm going to hit him really hard with Golisopod. And it seemed to work out pretty well for him. The finals against Pram were pretty tight, kind of back and forth for a little bit. I think he had a slow start game 2 or 3. One of those was a really slow start. And then he kind of picked it back up and was able to get back into the game. It just didn't work out for him in the end, though. So if you get a chance, go check out those videos. I think they're somewhere on YouTube. Just search for Memphis finals, and you'll find Azul going up against Pram. Exciting matches to watch. So we are going to look at Azul's list. So starting off, this is more of a Golisopod deck. In fact, that's kind of the focus. So he runs a 4-3 Wimpod Golisopod line. Of course, many of us know about that first impression attack, 30 plus damage. If this Pokemon was on the bench and became your active Pokemon this turn, this attack does 90 more damage. So that is kind of the focus of the deck. It uses a lot of Guzma and Acerola to switch in and out. What was really big about Golisopod at first is it was 1 energy attacker. So a few things with that. He's quick. You don't really have to do a ton of setup to be able to hit really hard with Golisopod as long as you do things right. And Gardy typically had a hard time one-shotting this because you only have 1 energy on. They have to get another 5 and a choice band or 6 energy along with your 1 energy to one-shot you. So that was really great about Golisopod, really why he became popular. And now he's just a good card all around. Moving on to the next one, it's kind of a defensive attack where he swings for 100, armor press for a grass, double colorless. And the reason it's defensive is because the next turn he takes 20 less damage, which is really good attack to have, just to kind of stay alive a little bit longer. Moving on, a Crossing Cut GX swings for 150, and you get to switch to your bench. So this is great because you can switch into something like a Coco, and the next turn switch back out to do your first impression for 120. Another great thing about this is if you attach a choice band, you're swinging for 180. So you're taking down things like Bulu, Tapu Lele, things like that. Taking easy 2 prizes on those. So that's really a good time to use that attack. And really just take some simple prizes. Of course, make sure if you do run this deck, though, use the Wimpod with the Wimpod ability. So during your first turn, if you start with this in the active, you can retreat into a Coco or something. That way, the next turn you can switch from the Coco back into that Golisopod and swing for 120. That's really kind of the key. And this Wimpod is definitely the better of the 2 Wimpods. So as we move on, we do have that one Tapu Koko, like I mentioned, to do the flying flip attack, and to be a free retreater to switch into Golisopod. Very, very key in this deck. You need free retreaters, and Koko will be one of them. Next, we have Mewtwo. Something that was really talked about a lot before this tournament was Buzzwole. Buzzwole was supposedly supposed to be in a lot of lists, and he was. They got the meta call right. Buzzwole was everywhere. And so they would use Psychic, because with the one energy on a Buzzwole, Mewtwo be doing 80. You have a Choice Band on, he's doing 140. So that's pretty solid. If your opponent was to try to set up a Buzzwole, Mewtwo would just take it out. Whether or not it was two-shot or not, didn't really matter. Doing 140 with a single prize attacker that's a basic that requires one energy attachment is solid. So a lot of people were attacking in Mewtwo for that, and it was really, really helping them out. Obviously, if someone builds up a Buzzwole, they can you can one-shot that Buzzwole. So great card to include there with Mewtwo. And then moving on, 3 Tapu Lele. This is just to make sure that Azul got set up, got the right supporter that he needed at the right time. Like I said, we're going to be using Guzma, we're going to be using Acerola. So if for some reason your Garbodor is not set up with the Float Stone to shut off abilities, Lele can do its thing, can get the supporter that you need, and keep your game rolling smoothly. Next, we have a 3-2 Garbodor line. Like I just mentioned, we're shutting down the abilities, slowing down our opponents so that we can speed ahead of them. Azul used this Trubbish from Breakpoint. That Acid Spray attack does 10 damage, flip a coin, yada yada. And actually, now that I'm talking about it, I realize it doesn't even matter because they both have the same HP. They both require Psychic to attack. And Azul did not play Psychic Energy in this list, or Rainbow Energy, which I know is something that we saw in the past. So it doesn't matter what Trubbish you use. It absolutely does not matter. Retreat's all the same. Weakness is the same. Yeah, doesn't matter. Pick your poison. Next, moving on, something that he ran that was insane was 4 E-Hammer. And I say it's insane. I mean it's insane because it's just, you typically don't see 4 E-Hammer unless it's like a mill deck. But this was a great call because there's special energy out the wazoo right now. You've got counter energy in some of these crazy decks. You got a ton of DCE with Lycanroc being big and Buzzwole being big. You've got strong energies coming out. So really, I mean, you have very few decks that don't run special energy. You've got Bulu, which right now it's getting some hype, and I can see why. I really can. But it's still kind of on the back burner. Like, not everyone's fully bought into the idea of Bulu. There's a lot of people that are like, yeah, it's really good, but... and then they just stay away from it. So that's one that doesn't run special energy, that is kind of played, but not a ton. And the other one would be like a Volcanion or a Ho-Oh-Salazzle, something like that. That, of course, just runs fire energy. So no special energy in that, but Lycanroc, Buzzwole, Greninja, Guardy even runs DCE. Just quite a few decks right now are running special energy. So E-Hammer is the way to go. You slow them down, you shut down their abilities. Just a lot of your tactics are to stall them out and for you to just two-shot things. Take down some easy prizes. Next, he ran 2 Heavy Ball. This is, of course, to get out a Wimpod, a Golisopod, or a Garbodor, all 3 of them having a 3 retreat cost. So those are nice, so you don't have to discard items to get them. He also ran 1 Rescue Stretcher in case you have to dump a Garb early or Koko, just whatever it is. You can get it back when you need to, or you can get back 3 and put them into your deck. Next, he ran the standard 4 Ultra Ball. You just get any of your Pokemon from your deck and play them. Next, 2 Acerola. This, of course, is just to add some longevity to your Pokemon. You don't want them to be knocked out. I think that's pretty self-explanatory in this game. You don't want your Pokemon to be knocked out. Acerola is the way to keep that from happening. Golisopod has a great HP, 210, pretty solid. Not always going to get one shot, so you can scoop him up when you need to. So yeah, moving on to the next one. 1 Bridget. Kind of low for my standards. I like having 2, but I'm not as good of a player as Azul, and I can't work around it as well. So he was great to include just the 1 Bridget, just to set up the beginning of the game. Typically you're going to want to have a couple wind pods, maybe a Coco and a Trubbish setup, and that's what we use that for. Next he ran 4 Guzma, and this, as I mentioned earlier, this is one of the core parts of the deck. Typically you're going to focus on your Pokemon. That's going to be your core of your deck. But with the Golisopod, you don't have Golisopod without Guzma. If you've played the video games or watched the anime, you know Guzma and Golisopod are just, they go together. And it fits perfectly in the deck. I love the synergy that they have. Being able to switch your Golisopod out and do that 120 damage for just 1 energy attachment is insanely good. And that is why Azul ran 4. And then for draw supporters, 4 N, 4 Sycamore. This is a super consistent list. A lot of the things that he needs, he has 4. He has 4 E-Hammer, 4 Ultra Ball, 4 Guzma, 4 N, 4 Sycamore, 4 Floatstone to make sure he can shut down abilities. Just very high counts of things, and I think that's what really helped him to secure this 2nd place win. Then we're at 3 Choice Band. This of course just adds damage to do to the GXs. As I mentioned, 4 Floatstone to shut down abilities with Garb, then 4 DCE, and 6 Grass Energy to attack with Golisopod, Coco, Mewtwo. Those are your attackers. That is how you take wins. So now guys, we're going to hop on the ladder, grab a game or two just to kind of show off the list, see if maybe we can do as well as Azul, and take hopefully 2 wins. That's what we're going for. Alright. Metal, Psychic, Fire, Water. I don't even know what to think this is. Alright, so we won the coin flip. First time of the night, that's great. And we have a horrible opening hand. My gosh, that's terrible. Okay, nothing like starting Lele in your opening hand and having to put it in the active spot as opposed to getting a Bridget or any other supporter. We do get to take a mulligan. What are you playing? So there's Metal, Fire. Maybe the Fire is Victini, but I don't know. Okay, great. We got a Lele anyway, so we kind of dug out of it. Maybe this is one of those rogue decks that I don't even know. I don't even know. That just runs some crazy stuff. So N and Sycamore, we have 1 of each of those prizes. That's 2 of our prizes. 1 Golisopod is the 3rd prize. 1 Ultra Ball is the 4th prize. 1 Choice Band is the 5th. I missed something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are in our hand. Alright, so we run a 1 of. I can't remember what it was. That's fine. I'll have to try to remember what it was. Alright, so we want our Trubbish. 2 Wind Pod. Think of what the Fire would be. And there's colorless. Colorless Rangaroo, yeah, and Victini. So what does he need the flip for? I'll say that doesn't require a flip. Can't remember. Crushing Hammer. There we go. Tails, that's what I'm talking about. Now, what stinks about going up against decks like this is Registeel has 130 HP. Golisopod's not going to be able to take that out, which really sucks. But I think, I don't know, maybe use the GX attack here. He didn't. First impression, do 120. Could give him the potential to keep setting up. Nah, I'll save it and see some more of his deck. I don't want to just assume that that's okay to do. We'll probably have an easy Lele at some point. We'll use it then. And actually, the better attack would have been use Armor Press there. That was my mistake as well. Could have done 100 and reduced my damage done to me this next turn. Max Elixir. Yeah, man, maybe I should have taken him out because now he's going to beef up something on the bench. Yeah, that Registeel. Good thing is he hasn't gotten any energy in the discard. Time to shut down their abilities so they can't set up from here. Come on, there we go. Press. Now this one, I may choose to use the GX attack because at this point they're kind of shut down. And he's just going to scoop. Yeah, I think he knew at that point he was kind of done for, which is fine with me. I'm really shocked that they have 2 dark patches down here for one of the prizes really early on, but no complaints. No complaints. I will take it if I can get it. Alright, let's grab another. Hopefully we can actually keep this game going a little bit longer and they don't scoop things up too quickly. But I mean, it's just a good list. I mean, it's consistent, it hits hard, it shuts down abilities, it's got kind of the whole package. Grass Dark. Okay, so this could be Decidueye Zoroark. This could be Golisopod Zoroark. So we will see. I kind of hope it's Decidueye Zoroark. I feel like on paper that would be a better matchup because they have multiple abilities. We're starting the same way we did last time. But anyway, I feel like Decidueye Zoroark is much more dependent on its abilities because of the Feather Arrow and the trade. So if we could play against a deck that has multiple abilities, it might help us. Alright, great. So they have the same terrible start that we have. And just as good because they have the second Lele. There's a Bridget. That's to be expected. Alright, so it's Golisopod Zoroark. So this ought to be interesting. It's really about setup. An advantage that they have and that we also kind of have, it's going to sound weird, but like they have the Zoroark. So it's good for them because they get the trade, but it's good for us because we can shut down a very crucial part of their deck. So alright, so we prized 1 Guzma. We have an in our hand, so 1, 2. We prized a Garb. We prized 1 Golisopod as 3. Prized 2 energies. It's 4, 5. What is the 6th thing that we keep forgetting? Oh man. I don't even know. I'm baffled. Absolutely stunned. That's fine. We get the majority of what we have prized. So we'll grab a Trubbish. We'll grab 2 Impods. And we'll pass. I'd love to start hitting some E-hammers. Now they're going to be able to start trading, so we have to shut those abilities down as quickly as we can. Guzma, please don't have another energy. If he has one, we're in trouble. Yep, he's got one. Kind of figured. That's okay. That's to be expected. Put Trubbish up because we are going to put a float stone on him. We'll just Sycamore. Alright, sweet. So we get some things set up here. The only thing that stinks is we didn't get our Garbodor. That's okay. Try to get similar setup to us. And I think he knows he needs to dig much faster now because his abilities are about to be shut off. He's going to grab himself the Golisopod. And he's probably going to bring it up to hit us. Yep. So the question is, do I Gizmo this next turn and just take down the Lele? Or do I leave it knowing that it's always going to be there? No, I won't even have to Gizmo. He's gonna, oh man, he's gonna be able to take me down. Alright, let's, oh boy. Let me think about this. Yeah, this is not, I could Gizmo up his Golisopod and hope that he can't Gizmo out of it. I mean, he can still retreat out of it, which is fine. But his Lele be able to take us out anyway. So either way, we're both going to get 2 prizes out of this. The only way for me to have gotten out is if I had the Acerola, which I didn't. Alright. Would have been great to hit a E-hammer off that. Alright. We'll just take down the Lele with first impression. Yeah, we still haven't gotten the Garb. We're gonna dump both those float stones if he's smart. Yep. So we still have one more in deck, right? Yeah, one more. Garbodor, finally. Shut down his abilities. Dump those. Grab another Wimpod and set up for a second Golisopod. One thing that I won't say it stinks. I mean, he knows what he's doing, but one thing that's kind of disappointing for this list is he does not run any field blower. So I can't get rid of that float stone. You know, I can't shut down things like that. If I hit someone hard enough but don't knock them out, I can't get rid of a fighting fairy belt, things like that. So it just kind of stinks that way. This next turn, I will probably a Sorola. Oh, but he's gonna do that first. That's fine. We'll just follow suit. I would love to have had a Gizmo in hand now and just take down the Wimpod, keep him from getting that set up, and shrink down the bench, which of course is key against Zoroark. So we're going to be able to heal off damage. We can shut down abilities. And we can hit him really hard. And the great thing is we don't have to switch out of the active this next turn. If the choice band sticks, we can hit the Zoroark for 60. Now, how many more? Alright, so he's played 2 field blowers. He might play 1 more, unless, like I said, he's following the current meta and how they're kind of placing it. He's going to take down our Garb, which is fine if he has to focus on something like that. Good thing is we have the DCE. See what our grass count's looking like. 2 in the discard. It's going to be 3. I think it's okay to dump some stuff then. Let's see. Do we get rid of the DCE on Zoroark or a rainbow? I think it's a rainbow. I think that's the correct call. Armor press for 130, and hope it sticks this time. That is really what we're going for. He's gotten rid of 2 Acerola, maybe just 1. 1 Acerola. The question is he play more than 1? And I don't know. I feel like if he played more than 1 and he had it, he would have used it on Zoroark. Of course, he may be digging for it. He plays the break in his list. That's interesting. So what I'll probably do this next turn, let's see. We've used both Ace Rolls. So what I'll probably do is retreat this next turn into a Lele and just take down this Golisopod that way to keep ours from being knocked out. Take an easy 2 prizes on Golisopod and then hopefully follow up on that Zoroark on the bench. He's not going to bring it up, obviously. We're going to have to take the knockout via a Gizmo, excuse me, via a Gizmo to do that. He just poked us. So actually, we could just leave Golisopod there because he's not going to be able to take down Golisopod with his Zoroark. We can end him, hopefully get an item, lock up his abilities, and keep him from getting out of it. Nope, couldn't get it. That's fine. So we have Gizmo. We pretty much have game at this point. But let me thin up the list, or my deck, excuse me. Alright, so we still have 3 E-Hammers, we have 2 DCEs, we have another Gizmo in case we need it. We'll get Wimpod out of there so we don't draw him. And we'll Armor Press for the knockout on this guy. And like I said, he has to swing for 170. The most he could do would be 150 with a Zoroark, or 130 with a Lele, unless he comes up with some crazy Kukui just out of the blue that we haven't seen the whole game. But I don't think he will. Let me make sure we haven't seen one. Yeah, no, we haven't seen one. And this should actually close things out for us. I'm okay with this. I really like how this list works. And you saw, like, we were behind and we still managed to pull back because of shutting down abilities at random times, and just taking some sweet knockouts. Acerola was a big MVP in this, making sure that we didn't get KO'd. So he's digging for his last energy to be able to take down our Golisopod. He's hoping that we don't have Gizmo. And of course, we know we have Gizmo. There's really nothing he can do about this. He's already used a supporter, so he can't Acerola. We're just going to take an easy knockout on his Zoroark on the bench and call it a night on this one. So you can... It's really easy to see on paper why this list is good, because abilities are just everywhere. And quite honestly, it really kind of surprises me that more people aren't playing ability lock decks with a format that's so heavily saturated with abilities. And maybe it's because they know that if a lot of people play it, then people are just going to increase their field blower count and find ways to counter lists like that. And they'll just have a target on their back like before. It kind of cycles around. So maybe for now, it's kind of ebbed down a bit, and it'll come back up with the ability lock in the future. Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see what happens with our meta. And that's what I really love about this game, is it's always changing, just depending on what cards come out, what cards go away. So yeah. So real quick, I'm gonna open, let's see, I think I have a couple items to open real quick. So I'll open those at the end of this video, and then I will flash that, well, it'd help if I was in the right spot. I will flash that list up on screen for you guys one more time. Also, if for some reason you don't see it on here, even though you're watching the video, Limitless always has these online shortly after the tournament, so you can have the list. I just personally like to put them out for people, so I can kind of give my feedback on them and show how they work and actually play them out. So there's an evolutions pack doing what evolutions packs do, give you junk. And we have this chest here with a backwards card. Let's see if we get any goodies. And it's a Lilligant, nothing special. So now we'll hop over to Deck Manager and show you guys the list one more time. There it is. Take it, have fun with it. I hope it does as well for you as it did for Azul, as it's done for myself. If you make any tweaks, let me know in the comments what tweaks you made. Did they work, or were you better just to stick with Azul's list? So yeah, hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you thought of it. And as usual, guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight on the Deck Box, where we want to know what's in your box. We'll see you next time, guys.